Hey everyone, got a fan request video this week. Stay tuned. I got a request a few weeks ago in the comments on one of my videos. Someone wanted to know about Zaharoff fragrances. I don't have a ton of experience, but I do have a little bit. Before I tell you about that, I want to do a little bit of throat cleaning here about the brand, because if you've been on YouTube and you've looked around, or you've been on various online forums and stuff, you've seen the brand discussed, and I think a little unfairly. So I will say this. This is my bias going into talking about the brand itself. I think if you look around, you can see all kinds of brands that have been hopping into fragrance, or brands that have popped up in recent years, popping into fragrance, that are clear, like they're releasing good products and stuff like that, but it's clear kind of that they have some sort of backing. I don't want to slag anyone off too hard, but like every time I look at Mind Games, they popped up seemingly out of nowhere. I know they have some like notable perfumers and stuff like that, but I don't know anything about the brand except that they showed up on the scene with like a full set of fragrances ready to go that are, $500 or whatever, and like insane prices. And I was just kind of like immediately like, what is that? Because like you couldn't get discovery sets for effective prices either. I didn't really know anything about the brand except that they started showing up everywhere on YouTube and online, all this other stuff, seemingly out of nowhere. And it kind of made me a little distrustful. Not that I am opposed to capitalism or anything like that. I'm a very big supporter, but it just smacked of like, I don't want to say a money grab, but that's kind of what it feels like. It's like, oh, hey, there's a lot of hype around fragrances right now. We can get into that too. I think that is in contrast with Zaharoff. Again, I've never had any sort of conversation with the man. I'll tell you my limited experience here in a minute, but all I know about him is what I've seen online, on Instagram, on YouTube or whatever, or just the website, and because he's very active. And my impression is that the dude is a fragrance fanatic. Like he's passionate about fragrance, and he had the means to be able to start a company with using a perfumer that he really likes. I believe his name is Claude, and so he's able to like get his like creative expression out with someone that he really enjoys as a perfumer. I don't have the ability to do perfuming myself. If I had money, I would probably do the same thing. So I have kind of a tremendous amount of respect for the brand. This is not me trying to solicit free bottles or anything like that. I'll probably get accused of it anyway if anyone sees this. But I think what he is doing is pretty cool, honestly. I think like putting his funds and resources into something that he's clearly passionate about. I think it's probably fair to say that he's the most passionate creative director that I've seen anywhere in the fragrance world. Like he just clearly cares about this stuff. He goes to the conventions, he's always exploring and seemingly trying to find new things. If you read about the fragrances that he releases, he puts a tremendous amount of thought into them and the ingredients and things like that. I don't know, like that to me seems fine. And also I don't think that the prices are too crazy. Like he runs like what, around $200 for a 4 milliliter or a 4 ounce bottle, and like $1.60, $1.50 for the smaller size. It's a little rich for my blood just to buy blind buy, but I think those are actually pretty fair prices because the quality seems to be pretty all right. So here's my experience with him. He doesn't know who I am. I mean, he might know, he might recognize me maybe from posting on Instagram, but I've never talked with the guy. I had a brief email exchange that he didn't know was me. This is why I'm like, okay. So I was trying to do my own research like a year ago or something like that, and posted on a forum and just said, hey, who's got experience? Like, give me the actual skinny on these. Is it actually good, or is it just are they just buying it, hype and stuff like that? And he actually replied, and he was like, hey, DM me. And the reason why I at the time there were no samples on the website, so the only way that I could smell it would be to either blind buy a full bottle or to buy like decants from another site. If I can, I like to buy samples directly from the company, especially when it's not like a designer, if it's like something that's else, like this niche or something, luxury fragrances. If I can, buy them directly from the company. And he reached out and he said, hey, give me your address, I'll send you samples. He didn't charge me, so if you want to call me a shill based on that, knock yourself out. I don't think it influences me. I would have absolutely bought them, but he just sent them to me. He didn't know who I was. He still doesn't know who I am. He probably wouldn't even remember doing that. So he sent those to me a while ago. They're in these, they came in these little sample bottles. They're not sprayers. They are, they're like, I don't know if they're 1 or 2 milliliters, but I mean, they're actually kind of nice little bottles. But as dabbers, it's a little bit harder for me to get the experience out of those. So it wasn't until recently when I started buying some sample bottles, I'm like, oh, hey, let me put these into actual bottles, like little samples, so I can spray them and get a better idea of it. And that was actually kind of reminded because of the person who commented asking me about that. So that is my background, my throat clearing for the brand. I think I have a tremendous amount of respect for what he's doing though. So that being said though, I'm still gonna give you my honest opinion about the fragrances. Having smelled them before though, I can tell you that there really aren't any bad ones. There are some that I like more than others, and maybe some that I don't know are the best value like for me. But that being said, I know that they are a good value for some other people who really, really like them. So I'm just gonna go through. This is not in any particular order, except that I'm gonna save 3 for the end, because that included the 3 Z Creator, the last ones that they did. Of the Immortals, Evening Mystique, and Second Soul. And those are gone. So I'm gonna give you my opinion on those, but you can't buy them anymore. So I'm just gonna go through these, and no particular order, except I'm gonna grab Signature Pour Homme first. So we'll spray that, and I'll talk to you about it. It is nicer when you have something to spray, because even if you try and put the dabs on like a test strip, it doesn't really work out that well. So, I mean, that smells great. Like, so, okay, Signature Pour Homme. It's signature for men. This is, I don't know if it was the first one, but I think the idea here is just a signature scent. This is super likable, mass appealing. I mean, so I'm just gonna give the notes as I go along with these. Fresh cardamom, lavender. Incidentally, he lists all the countries this comes from on his website. Black pepper, juicy pear, blue cypress, ginger roots, blonde cedar, temple oud, Florentine iris, pimento leaves, fir balsam, creamy sandalwood, gold patchouli, black amber, myrrh, frankincense. This to me is like a very clean, fresh, vibrant fragrance. It lists the resins, but to me this is like, I mean, honestly, signature is a great name for it. This would be good in the office. I don't know if I'd pay 200 bucks for this, but I don't even know if it is 200 bucks though, to be honest. Let's see. Yeah, you know, 135 though for a 2-ounce bottle. I might. It's a good scent. Like, this is a good, unoffensive scent. I would feel totally comfortable wearing this in any situation. It smells good. Like, there's a lot of things that I've smelled that don't smell as good as this. I guess this is kind of going to be a reoccurring theme. There are some things in here that I think are really good, but even the ones that are like not screaming at me are like, yeah, this is a lot better than some of the other crap that I smell out there, especially in the designer world, where a lot of the designer stuff is even more expensive than this. So it's really hard for me to get on board with the Zaharoff hate, just because I'm like, this stuff is better than designer crap. In a lot of cases, it's cheaper. I'd wear this over, I think this fits in the same spot as like a Sauvage or Bleu de Chanel or one of those, you know, Y EDP or something like that. It doesn't smell like them, but I think it's the same, it fits in the same vein, serves the same function. I think I like this more than all those. Okay, next up is Signature Noir. The notes on this one are basil, coriander, pink pepper, mandarin, bergamot, ginger roots, blonde cedar, anise, cypress, freesia, fir balsam, sandalwood, tonka bean, olibanum, frankincense, oud, and myrrh. So there are some shared notes, and there are some shared similarities. This to me seems a little bit more woody. I guess noir is not a bad name for it. It feels a little bit more of the night, so I could see that. I could see this being like a great kind of classy evening affair. This doesn't feel like a clubbing fragrance to me. This is like something I would wear to a fancy date or fancy occasion. This is like another take on a tuxedo fragrance to me. I kind of like the idea of wearing this a little dressed up, because I think like this gives off a nice, clean, professional, but classy sort of thing going on. It's classy. So this is another area where this is going to be a little bit difficult for me, because as much as I like classy things and classy fragrances, my vibe tends to be a little bit more weird. Magic Mushrooms by Boho Coco, or what, Boko Boho, or whatever the name of that company is. I've been obsessed with that sample recently, and I want to get a bottle. But it's a weird fragrance, and I'm kind of drawn to those right now. So this is a great fragrance that I would probably not have very many opportunities to wear in its best situation. But again, common theme, better than designer crap. None of this stuff smells cheap too. That's the other thing. Like, even sometimes you get fancy fragrances that you're like, yeah, but it has some sort of a cheap feeling to it or something like that. None of these give off that vibe. None of them smell garbagey. You know what I mean? They don't have off notes that are bad. I would say if you're looking for something for a classy evening out, Signature Noir is a good one. Okay, next up is Signature Rosé. This was actually one that I've worn a couple of times, like dabbed it behind my ears and stuff. The notes on this are Turkish Rose, Rose Otto, Gold Amber, Jasmine, Red Peony, Sandalwood, Vanilla Bean, Oud, Sugarcane, Myrrh, and Olibanum Tears, which I think is frankincense. So this one I do actually like quite a bit. I think that's not uncommon too from the little bits I've heard. I think other people are also a fan of this one. I think with good cause. This is a great masculine rose, and there are not too many of those. You know what I mean? It's there are lots of men's fragrances with rose, but none that I feel like make it the star like this. Oh, this is great. Like part of it is because a lot of times when you have men's fragrances with rose, they are afraid to embrace the rose. You know, I think a good example of that is what's it called? The Declaration d'un Soir. It's rose, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, it's rose, but yeah, you have to kind of want it. You know what I mean? This has the rose featured prominently, and there's quite a bit of sweetness with it, but it still smells like masculine in a way. Like, it's hard to describe. Like, I think women could wear this one too, but it does feel masculine. There's kind of like a little bit of pencil shavings or something going on there, a little bit of woodiness, but it's kind of a fresh wood, a fresh cut wood, if that makes sense. I always get nervous around woods because sometimes they can go really awry, especially when you get into cedar. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. Cedar is in my blood as much as rain is. And when I smell some of these fancy fragrances like Penhaligon's, I've been going through their discovery set recently, and boy, that cedar sucks. Maybe some people like it, but it's just real off-putting to me. It doesn't smell right. It smells bad. It smells bad. So, this one though is this great, I would say, woody rose. That's the thing that I get the most from this is like a woody rose, but there's a good amount of sweetness with it and really pleasant. This is to me maybe another fancy fragrance, maybe something for an occasion, but maybe this one's a little bit lighter. Maybe this is more of a spring summer because it's a little bit lighter, but it's classy, it's different. Like, this is actually one that I really do like because I feel like it's different to a lot of things that I've smelled before. It's using similar notes, but the composition and the fact that it is male targeted, I feel like, it's great. Like, this one is really good. I would actually get a bottle of this one, and maybe I should get like a 2-ounce bottle of this one because it's just like a nice, good, sweet, classy fragrance. I wouldn't mind smelling this on me all the time. I wouldn't need feel the need to get like dressed up necessarily to wear this one. Like the previous two, I feel like those ones, I'd have to, you know, wear something nice. But this one is just like a really good, appealing rose fragrance. So if you're a guy that's nervous about roses, this might be a good place to check out this one, because I think it's pretty good. Okay, next up is another fan favorite from what I understand, and I have worn this one a couple of times as well, and that is Signature Citrine. So the notes on this are willow leaf, mandarin orange, sweet fennel, red currant, cardamom, Arabian jasmine, clementine, pink pepper, figwood, Corsican cistus, sambac, purple plum, gold patchouli, oud, white moss, and musk, frankincense, myrrh. Like, this is a really great one, but I can tell you right now, I probably wouldn't buy this. It's a nice, fresh fragrance. This is great for spring and summer. I think it's bringing you everything you want. And I think as far as freshies go, it somehow does manage to not be like everything else. I think this carves out its own thing. Doesn't smell synthetic, doesn't smell fake. This to me smells very natural. Very appealing. The reason I wouldn't buy it, I think for this kind of profile, there are things that you can get that are cheaper, that are doing a pretty dang good job as well. The most recent one that I can think of is Eros Energy. I still need to get a bottle of that, but I think that is probably, I don't know, probably my favorite freshie that I've smelled so far. Maybe I shouldn't say that far, but it is a very good one. This is also likewise very good. Doesn't punch you in the face, but it is nice, refreshing, clean, citrusy, as the name might suggest. But for 100 and whatever, something 135 or 150 for 2 ounces, just from a value prospect, I don't like it enough, because if I had both this and Energy, it'd probably be a toss-up as to which one I would want to wear. But it's great. If freshies are your thing, then maybe this one's worth checking out. I just would say for me, I probably wouldn't get a bottle, even though I do like this one a lot, just because I think there's probably something else out there for a little bit less expensive that does the same thing without smelling the same. I think, again, this does smell unique. It's a good one. It's a good one. This one is probably right next to Rosé so far in terms of the ones I like the most. But again, all of them that I've talked about so far, they've all been perfectly good. Like they've been serviceable. Nothing. I really don't get the Zaharoff hate. That's kind of the running theme here. I don't care if I get accused of, you know, sucking up or trying to be a shill or whatever. I don't know, man. It just feels like the dude gets slandered so unjustly. He really likes this stuff. Like, he's a fan. He's a fan. Like, anyone watching this is a fragrance fan, I would assume, because you're watching videos about fragrances. George seems like one of us, so I don't understand. I don't get it. This is all good stuff. Okay, next up is Signature Royale. I don't know, it might be just Royal, but I like saying Royale more. I will say the collection that I have only goes through leather Tabac. I don't have the I think it's 4 or 5 most recent releases that have come out from the brand, because that's just what was there when they weren't out. The notes on this one are fresh cardamom, citrus blend, Himalayan juniper, apple, lavender, pimento leaves, magnolia, sandalwood, gold patchouli, oud, suede and cashmere wood blend, musk and vanilla. So, you know what I think is funny is not listed in the notes is, I didn't see iris in there, but that's kind of what I feel like I get a lot of. Kind of that waxy, makeup-y sort of thing, you know? I am still coming around on iris. Like, the note generally, it's one of those things where, like, sometimes it's super appealing to me, sometimes it's kind of odd. This is maybe a little bit more on the lipstick side of things for me. It's a good fragrance. I'm not a fair one to judge it because iris is, I don't know. I'm still working on iris. I'm still working on my nose to kind of figure out, understand, and appreciate iris. So even though it's not listed, I don't know, because I get a lot of iris in this. I do appreciate, though, that the apple is from Washington State. That's a good pull, George. You picked apples from the right place. There's nothing bad about this fragrance. Like, this is a me problem. The kind of iris that makes me go, there are, like, with how much I see love for iris out there, I think people would love this. It's totally competent. Everything I've said about all the other fragrances in terms of quality and stuff applies here. I feel this feels like Again, I don't have too much experience with these, like I've said, so some of these are a little bit more fresher takes, but there's nothing really bad in these. Like, that's the thing that like I feel like I'm gonna get accused of just being a shill. But none of these are bad. I don't get the hate. I don't understand it. Don't get it. Let's just follow that up with Signature Royale X, which is the next one here. The notes on this are bergamot, citrus, lavender, cardamom, Himalayan juniper, pimento berry, cedar leaf, sandalwood, gold patchouli, oud, leather, and musk. Uh-oh. I just maybe don't like, did I see cedar in there? Yeah, cedar leaf. Maybe that's what it is. I don't like. Okay, so here you go. Here's one that I'm not really as wild about. It's that cedar leaf, which again is maybe a me problem. Maybe it's just because I'm so used to like growing up, you know, with cedar trees and stuff like that, like doing projects with cedar, cutting them. The smell of that wood is very familiar to me. And when it's put into fragrances, it's really screechy to me. It doesn't smell, it smells like a very screechy version of cedar. Cedar should be this sweet, super pleasant smell, and the note comes across as just a little piercing to me in fragrance, in an unpleasant way. So, there you go, Signature Royale X. Okay, rounding out the top two here, we'll do Signature Tabac. I say Tabac. Okay, Signature Tabac here. I will say I know that these two are monstrous performers. Man, that's a good, like I've been thinking about doing a tobacco fragrance video recently, and that's good tobacco. As someone who used to smoke and used to smoke pipes as well, this is a beautiful tobacco note. The notes: cognac, lavender, rum, star anise, divana, gold honey, blonde cedar, temple oud, tobacco leaf, pimento leaves, fir balsam, sandalwood, plum, black amber, myrrh, frankincense, tonka bean, and vanilla. Yeah, this is a more interesting version of Tobacco Vanille. Doing something in a similar profile, similar vein, but I would rather wear this than Tobacco Vanille. I think Tobacco Vanille is a landmark fragrance that was created with a landmark DNA, and it's been copied to the ends of the earth, and you get it in candles, you know, so it's just kind of this thing that's just too commonplace now to be very interesting to me, even though it smells very good. This is more interesting. A little bit more woods in there as well, so you get some of that Tobacco Vanille-esque sort of thing going on with a little bit of creaminess, a little bit of sweetness on top of a very realistic, photorealistic pipe tobacco to me. But then there's a nice woods undergirding. That's great. I would totally get a bottle of this, and this is going to be significantly cheaper than Tobacco Vanille. So win-win all around. This one's great. All right, last up of the regular line is Leather Tabac, which I know this one is. I think this one, from what I recall, is pretty smoky. Yep. Didn't even need to get it up to my nose. Man, this one's so I will say the first time I wore this, I was like, that is insanely strong. And I don't know. And I will say in the year that has lapsed, this is now super interesting to me. Because you have all of this, the stuff I was just talking about, but this is like, this is doing something different. So the notes on this one are rosemary, sage, black pepper, star anise, plum, birch tar, cumin seeds, rose otto, myrrh, tobacco, suede, leather, honey, oud, praline, and frankincense. The oud, I don't know if it's real, I don't know if this is what I'm smelling, but there's kind of almost like an element of like hay. There's not like barnyardy, like manure, but like there's something to it, you know what I mean? That reminds me of that in a very appealing sort of way, in a very kind of like rugged way. Like normally I'm kind of put off by like hyper manly man fragrances. They're just kind of not my vibe. And I feel like this is there but it's doing something really interesting, which makes me compelled. It makes me want to wear it. It's super interesting. This one I know is really strong and it lasts a really long time. So I'm gonna wear this one some more because yeah, this is, it's really, there's a little bit of a there's a curveball in this one. Might put some people off, but I find it to be super compelling and super interesting. I like that a lot. Rounding out with the last three, which are the Zed creators, I'm gonna start off with Second Soul. This one, I will be honest with you, the first time I smelled it, I was like, I don't know. I didn't have too much experience with fougères. So the first time I smelled this, I was kind of like, It's interesting. This to me, so I recently picked up Houbigant's Fougère Royale. Now this is the one that they released in 2010 that had Raja Dove as one of the creative directors on it, and I can't remember the other guy's name, but I remember smelling that, and when I first smelled it, I go, wait, what is that? I've smelled that before. Where did I smell that? It's this one, it's in Second Soul. This has that, kind of that soapy green. That's the thing I don't really understand about fougères. I know they're supposed to smell like a fern, and they're supposed to smell green. I don't really get that. They kind of just can give me like a clean soapiness. I don't know if fougères are for me. I like straight fougères that are kind of referential. This seems like a similar thing to Houbigant's Fougère Royale. So if you've smelled that before or something like that, I think this is hitting the same notes. Since you can't get this anymore, go pick up, if you want something in this vein, go pick up Fougère Royale. You can get it from discounters for a little over $100. And it's doing the same thing as this. I'm working on this as a profile though. Like I'm like spending time with it to get to know it more than just my first impressions. So I feel bad about kind of going, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of think I like this one a little bit more than Fougère Royale. There's maybe a little bit of sweetness in there. It's very clean though. If you're looking for something that's kind of got that very clean sort of vibe to it, this is good. Okay. Probably the controversial one, though maybe less controversial since the George the Fragrance Apprentice did his big video. If you haven't seen it, it's very funny. You should go watch it. And that's coming from me where I don't think that you can do funny very well in this space, or I haven't seen it been done very well, but I think George actually did with that video where Ross from TLTG was in it. I think having some self-awareness is good, and I think that video did, and George has been pretty cynical and pretty hardcore about his previous feelings. No, see, it's funny because I just said all that stuff about Iris, and I don't know what the notes are in this one because I don't have it on hand, but I know Iris plays a role in this one too. I would wear this over Signature Royale. They don't smell like. I think this is a little bit spicier, interesting. This one's classy. This is a good fragrance. It's not my favorite because again, the iris is pretty prominent there, so you have to really like iris, but if you do, it's very interesting. I think it got pretty well praised when people actually smelled it from what I could tell. So maybe trashing Ross and Zaharoff for it was stupid and those people should apologize, but it's totally fine. I think if you're looking for something to replace this, Reserve Privé from Givenchy is not a bad idea, because I feel like it doesn't have the whiskey element that one does, but it's got kind of that some of that other profile, especially with the iris. Last up is the only thing that I actually got a bottle of, and it's not because I'm thirsty. I'd actually never seen any of the videos that Andrea had put out before I got it. It was because it was the only thing that my wife was actually kind of like into when she smelled the Discovery set, and that's of the Immortals. So I got the full big boy bottle of this. I love the plaque, which is part of the reason why. But this scent is also, I think, my favorite from everything I've smelled. Curly Scents is the channel name. I think this is the most fun out of all the fragrances that I've smelled, though I will say, that honey one looks so interesting. I would love to get a bottle of that, though. Same thing. I I want the full-size bottle. I want the big 4-ounce bottle of that because I like the presentation. But $200 is a bit spicy for me to buy, or smell unseen, or smell unsmelled. But this one I really like a lot. This is, to me, being on the beach with a cigar in one hand and like a pina colada in the other hand. This is a great summertime tropical fragrance, but it's still warm enough that you can wear it in the fall and winter. It's got the right amount of sweetness without being cloying. Again, masterfully, I think, put together. Like all of these, none of these are poorly blended. They're all very well created. I think Claudier does a great job of putting them together. I think George, his vision seems to be being executed. So I don't know. This is tough because it's all subjective, but I think George has been subject to so much unnecessary and unwarranted flack. And I would shake the guy's hand. I just think I think he's doing something cool. I like it. I should support it more. I think out of everything that I've talked about today, Signature Rosé, Leather Tabac, I do like Of the Immortals quite a bit. So, I mean, I would get all of those. I would be interested in all of those. Only reason I haven't is because there's been higher priorities, but I think they're all good. So let me know what you think. I'm curious. I think there has been a lot of undue flack and crap given to Zaharoff as a brand and George in particular, but it's stupid. I think you should be smelling these things and make a determination for yourself. Where I come from, I think it's cool. I hope that he continues. I'd like to smell more of the stuff just to see where it goes, because I think he's getting, you know, a little bit more bold with some of the stuff. I think, you know, he got a lot of the standard fragrances, you know, in the line first, good standards, and now he's branching out and doing like he's got Signature Bloom I'm curious about, but like there's the honey one, which looks super interesting. I was looking at the notes before this, and I just would love to get my nose on that one. And some other ones that have come out recently. I would just like to check them out. I just think it's cool. So anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.